Hello everyone and welcome to Access for Beginners. This is presented to you by the Computer Science and Engineering Department. First of all, what is Access? Access databases can help you store and track just about any type of information, whether it's inventory, contacts, or even reports. Who uses Access? Well, Access can be used on a personal level, and also many small businesses use Access. Today, for our Access database, we're going to pretend to be a small business. So what are we going to learn today? First, we're going to learn how to open Access, how to add fields, how to add data types, create a table, save and close database objects, switch between views in Access, import data from Excel, create relationships between tables, and how to run a query. And although this may sound like gibberish, as we go through it, it will become clearer. So let's begin by opening up Access. The first thing we're going to look for is this little start icon in your left bottom corner. And we're going to click on that. You're going to have a little search box, and in here we're going to type in Access 2013. And when you type it, you'll see that the program will come up here, and we're going to click on it to open up Access. Now when you open it up, you're going to see a lot of different options of things you can do in Access, like creating an app, or things that you would do for a small company, like project management and task management. But for today, we're going to start off with the basics. We're going to use the blank desktop database. Now, when you click on that, you're going to get an option to type in a file name. So go ahead and type in your first and last name. And click Create. Now we've started our very first Access database. We're going to start by changing the view. Up here in the upper left-hand corner, you have this option that says View. When you click on it, you can choose between Datasheet View and Design View. To create our table, we need the Design View. And as you can see, there's a red box around Datasheet View, and that's how we can tell that's the view we're in right now. So go ahead and click on Design View, and you're going to have a box that pops up that says Save As. And of course we want to save everything. So we're going to name this table Employee Records. Okay. Now we're going to have two columns here, one that says Field Name and one that says Data Type. The field name will be the names of each column that we're going to use to create our employee records. And I'm going to go through and type each one, all the fields that we need to create this table. The first one is Employee ID. Next will be Employee Name. Next will be address. Next will be city. Next will be state. Then zip code. Then position, or the person's position in the company. Then phone number. And yearly salary. For the data type, for most of them we're going to choose short text. Now what is short text? Short text allows us to go between letters and numbers as we type up each employee's record. So since it's the most flexible, we're going to use short text for almost all of them except yearly salary. For that, we're going to use currency. Now once you've done this, we want to switch back to Datasheet View. So we're going to go to the same place, the upper left hand corner. and we're going to click Data Sheet View. And of course, you always want to save the table. So for the employee records, we're going to have 5 employees. The first one will be Stacy Jones. Next will be Jim Falcon. I'm sorry. We actually want to type in employee numbers in this section. So let's do that. So here we want 21865. And this one up here, we want 21765. Our next employee will be 21965, 22065, and 22165. Now we can put in the employee names. And the first one, as I mentioned before, will be Stacy Jones, then Jim Falcon, then Anna Brown, then George Smith, and last, Larry Lopez. So you can see it there. And we're going to give them fake addresses. For Stacy, she'll live at 100 Vale Valley Drive. For Jim, he will live at 344 Eagle River Road. For Anna, she'll live at 88 Main Street. For George, he will live at 354 Union Street. And for Larry, he will live at 22 Highway 6. And the city, they will all live in Leadville. So you can go ahead and type that in. The state will be Connecticut, and the abbreviations for that is CO. And the zip code will be 81657. We're going to do that for all of them. Their position or the occupation they hold in the company. For Stacy, she is a front desk receptionist. For Jim, he's a secretary. For Anna, she's the intern. For George, he'll be a customer service representative. And Larry will have that same occupation, customer service representative. Now you're going to notice that some of them are cut off. So if you hover right in between two of them, like let's take between employee ID and employee name, you're going to get this double-headed arrow, and you're going to double-click, and it will auto-fit it so you can see everything. Okay. The last two things we're going to type in is phone numbers, and you can make up whatever you want for these. So I'm going to give them an area code of 455, and then any numbers that we want. once we do that, we can give them any salary that we want as well. Okay, once this is complete, you can review your work. You've just created a table with 5 employee records. Now we want to save and close this table. So right here where it says employee records, we're going to right click on this tab and click save. Now we've saved our table. We're going to right click again and close the table, so nothing will appear right here. The next thing we're going to learn how to do is import data from Excel. So up here at the top, this is called our ribbon, we want to select external data. And once you've selected it, you have 2 groups, and since we're bringing data in from Excel, we want to use the import and link group. And we're going to click Excel. And this box is going to pop up, and we want to browse. And on the desktop, I have saved, I have saved employee hours, and that's the Excel sheet that we want to open. Once you do that, hit OK, and we're going to have a wizard that pops up for us to finish up importing this data. So we're going to check this box. First row contains column headings, and you can see that this will move up because this is going to be our field names, and we're going to click next. Then we're going to change this up here. We don't want any duplicates, but we do want it to be indexed. So we're going to click yes, no duplicates. The data type, as we discussed before, short text is the most flexible, so that's the data type that we want to use. And we're going to click next. For this step, we want to choose our own primary key. You're going to notice up here it tells us what a primary key is. A primary key is used to uniquely identify each record in your table. It allows you to retrieve data more quickly. And of course we want to get our data as fast as possible, so we want to choose our own primary key and do employee number. And we're going to click next. Then we have this option to name the table. And we're going to name it employee hours. And we're going to click finish. And we do not want to save the import steps, so we're going to close it. And that is how we import data from Excel. You can see in your navigation pane you have these 2 tables. So next we're going to create a relationship between these tables. So we're going to go back up to the ribbon, and we want to select Database Tools. Now once we click this, in the Relationships group, we're going to click on Relationships. And we want to add both of these tables to the blank pane and click Close. Now, if you noticed earlier, the employee number and employee ID are the one thing that these 2 tables share. So we're going to click on employee number, drag it over until it's on top of employee ID. And once you do that, this box will pop up. We want to enforce the referential integrity so it protects these sheets. And we want to do the cascade update related fields because as we add more information to these tables, it will update it in the relationship between these 2 tables. And then we'll click Create. And now you can see this line is here, and we have just created a relationship. And we're going to close it. And of course, we want to save it. Now, because we created a relationship, when we go to run a query, which is a simple search, it will output the results that match from different tables. And this will make our search faster as we run a query. So that's the last thing we're going to learn how to do today, is how to run a query. So first you want to make sure that all your tables are saved and cleared from this area. Next, up here in the ribbon, we're going to click Create. And once we click Create, in the Queries group, we want to select Query Design. And you're going to have this table pop up here.
You want to click employee records and add it, and employee hours and add that as well. And then click close. And you can see that the relationship between these two tables is also visible as we run this query. So, to run a query or a search, suppose you want to find out when employee number 21965 works on a Monday. How would we do this? Well, down here, this is kind of like our search box. In the first field, we want to search by employee ID. In the second field, we want to find out when they work on a Monday, so we're going to click Monday. Now, what's the criteria? Well, we specifically want the employee ID of 21965. So that will be our criteria. And once you click this, we're going to hit Run under Results. And it will return with the hours that this employee works on a Monday, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay? So that's how you run a query. And of course, we're going to right-click and close it. But in this case, we won't save the query. Now, let's do one more query to practice. So once again, we're going to go to Create, Query Design, and we're going to add the two tables again. Employee records, add it. Employee hours, add it, and close. So let's search by employee ID again. And let's say we want to find out when an employee works on a Thursday. The criteria, let's change the employee ID. Let's do 22065. And we're going to click Run. And now we find out when employee 22065, or that would be George Smith, works on a Thursday. And that would be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And you can play around with this as much as you want. And we're going to close this as well. And once again, we won't be saving the query. So now you have a basic understanding of Access, and I'm going to show you how to close out of Access as well. We're going to go up to File, and the first thing we want to do whenever we're closing an Access database is the compact and repair database. And this is important because as you update your Access databases, it will correct any problems or mistakes that you've made in there. So we're going to click on that, and once it's done, this Enable Content will pop up. Now this Enable Content is important because it will allow us to go back in and continue working on our tables. In this case, we're done, so we'll just hit Enable Content and go back to File. And then we want to do File Save As, of course. And we want to save the database as, and we want to choose the first one with the extension ACCDB. And then we're going to click Save As. Once you click it, you can save it as John Doe or whatever your name is, and we're going to save it in the documents. We're going to click Save. And yes. And then we're going to X out at the top. And that is Access 2013. We want to thank Microsoft Office for the useful information, and thank you for coming to our presentation today.